So earlier this week on my channel, I uploaded a complete guitar cover of Ruined by Lamb of God, and I was shocked to find that there are no complete lessons on how to play this song on YouTube. So I thought it'd be perfect time to break this thing down for you guys on Weekend Wankshop. This is going to be a really long and detailed lesson today, so use the following supercut of all the riffs in the song to find the part that you're wanting to learn, and use the time code to get right to it. Hey there kids, and welcome to this week's installment of Weekend Wankshop, here with your best buddy, Uncle Ben. On today's installment of Weekend Wankshop, we're going to be learning how to play every guitar part in Ruined by Lamb of God, and I mean every part. All the riffs, all the harmonies, all the solos, even just some weird little things floating around in the background that I picked up on as I was working on my cover of this. It's a pretty challenging song to play, and it's perfect to work on if you're looking to improve your right hand heavy metal rhythm guitar playing chops. And as always, you guys can find a full tab for this week's lesson over on my Instagram page at Ben Eller Guitars. So be sure to go in there, search for hashtag Weekend Wankshop 206, find the tabs for this week's lesson, learn it, then upload a video of yourself shredding through it along with the hashtag
Weekend Wankshop.
So the first riff in the song here is probably the easiest one in the whole thing, and it's going to be using your low E string and A string with some simple power chords. Start off by hitting those bottom two strings with some palm muting open 3 times. Then you're going to play a 5th fret power chord on the bottom 2 strings with no palm mute. Back to your opens with palm muting. And then you're going to play the 6th with no palm muting. So basically all the opens are palm muted, all of the fretted notes aren't. You'll notice Lamb of God is pretty upstroke heavy whenever they play. And they do this kind of thing a lot of times with their riffs, where if it's a palm muted string, it'll be downstrokes. And if it's a fretted note, they'll snap it with an upstroke. So that's a little thing you can do to make it sound just like theirs. So that's all there is to the first riff of this song. Then we get into the second riff of this song, which is going to be taking place. You're starting off on your low E string, fret number 2. And you can hear that that is a single note and then a little gallop. So I'm playing down, down, up, down. Then you're going to play the 5th fret low E string, no palm mute. Back to that 2 with a palm mute. And then a 6 with no palm mute. So it's... And what you're going to do is you're going to play that figure 2 times in a row. Then you get onto this ending part. So that is me doing that 2 with the single and the gallop. 5, 2, 6, 2, 5, 2, 3, 2, 5. That's a lot easier to play than it is to say. That just sounded like I was rattling off a phone number or something like that. But basically the accent is Okay? 5, 6, 5, 3, 5. Like that right there. And again, on all those accents, I'm just doing upstrokes to make sure I can snap those really well and come off of my palm mutings to get a good clear tone. Now there's a harmony that gets added onto this, and it's essentially the exact same riff, but the accent notes on this are going to be on the A string 2 and 3, and then the long ending part is going to go 2, 3, 2, open 2. So it sounds like this. Nothing too crazy. Next after that, we're going to get to the verse of the song, which starts off with some open low E string that's all palm muted and chuggy-like. Start off with 3 downstrokes, then you're going to play 12 with no palm mute, back to the open, palm muted, then the 13, no palm mute. Again, upstrokes right there. Not necessary, but that's how I play it. Then you have this figure. So this is 1, 2, 3, and then a gallop, and then another downstroke. Okay, and that figure right there represents what I call the stem of the riff, and on the tab I've got this written out as stem ending A, stem ending B, stem ending A, stem ending C. So you could call this kind of an A, B, A, C sort of riff. But again, that little bit right there is what I call the stem. So ending A that I was talking about earlier is this section right here. So this is starting off again with some opens and using the 12th and 13th frets right there. And then you jump down to this figure. Okay, so this is me playing 8 and 7 on the A, 9 on the low E, and then after this you're going to play 6, 5 on the A, and an 8 on the low E. So now you have stem, ending A, back to the stem, then we have ending B, which is this guy. And that is going open 6, 7 on the low E, a 6 on the A. On the low E string here, go back and play 7, 6, 5 on the A. And then on the low E string here, we're going to play 6, 5, open 3, 6. Play that a few times. And again. Lamb of God stuff is full of little licks like that in the riffs. I have no idea how they keep them straight from song to song because their stuff is covered in licks like this. After that, you're back to stem A. Then we have stem C, which is this part. Okay, so again, let's start off with stem. And then I'm doing some power chords here on the bottom strings. I'm hitting open, hammering onto 3, then strumming the 3, strumming the 3 again and sliding to 6, strike that again, hit the 6 and slide down to 5, strike it again, then you're going to hit 3, sliding to 5, and then hit it again. So it's kind of like you got open 3, 3, 6, 6, 5, 3, 5. And that is Guitar 1's version of the verse. We'll talk about the harmonies here in just a second. So overall, it should sound like this. You got stem, A, stem, B, stem, A, stem, C. Okay, now Guitar 2 has a little harmony part right here, so if you got a buddy you're playing this with, that dude can play this part, or you could probably come up with a pretty creative way to play these on your own, but it might be kind of a finger twister. On the tab on the Instagram page for this, I've put the Guitar 2's harmony parts in purple on the tabs right there. So the main guitar is in black, the harmony is in purple. And this isn't a harmony for the whole riff. The harmony kind of comes in and out. The harmony is always there on the stem and on ending A. Let me show you what I mean. So on the stem, what you're going to do is instead of playing the 12 and 13 on the low E string, Guitar 2 always plays that same figure, but with the 12 and 13 happening on the A string. So you still got all the same open chugs, but just put the 12 and 13 on the A string this time. Gives you a little fifth harmony. And again, you could play it right there, or if you're playing it on one guitar or whatever. And then the ending A harmony goes like this. Kind of gives it a cool little Slayer sort of sound. So that A ending for guitar 2 is going to be harmonized like this. You're going to play your opens and your 12s and your 13s on your A string right there. And then the little ending part right here is going to go to the D string, 10-9, and then the A10. And then just move that figure down a half step. So you play D string 9-8, A string 9. So for guitar 2, it's going to play the harmonized stem, A, stem, B, no harmony there, A, and the C part, again, also has no harmony on it either. And then we get to the section on the tab that I have labeled as harmony riff. Now again, this is a stem A, stem B kind of riff. So you got kind of like a main part and two different endings. For guitar 1, it's gonna sound like this. That's your stem, okay? Ending A, stem, and your ending B. So what I'm doing for the stem there is I'm hitting the open low E string palm muted 4 times, 5th fret A 2 times, back to 4 more of those palm muted E's, and then 2 of your 6th fret A's. And again, that's what I'm calling the stem. Your A ending is gonna play 3 E's, 2 A's on 5, then you go to 6, then 3. So again, that's stem and ending A. After this, play the stem, and we're gonna play ending B right here. This is 3 low E's. You're gonna hit that A string 5 2 times, 6th fret 3 times, and then go to the D string here on 8, hit that once and slide down to 7, and then pick that 7 again. And again, there's a guitar 2 harmony on this part. Now for guitar 2, what you're gonna do is you're gonna be starting off by hitting those open low E's, and then play the 12 on the A string. Back to the opens, 13. Again, that's guitar 2's stem. Then guitar 2's ending A goes like this. So that's 3 E's, 12 on the A, 13, and then 10. Back to the stem. And then guitar 2's B ending is gonna go like this. So that's 3 low E's, the 12's on the A, 13, and then jump down here to 8, slide down to 7, and then hit the 7 again. So again, this is a cool approach to harmony here where the guitars aren't doing just straight fifths or straight thirds or whatever the whole time. Initially, their combined sound sounds like power chords, with guitar 1 being here and guitar 2 being here. Sounds like this together, like a power chord. But when it gets to that ending part, guitar 1 does this, guitar 2 does this. So they briefly sound like fourths. Pretty cool sound. You can play these pretty easily on one guitar using power chords and then a sliding double stop, kind of like this. So harmony riff 1 for guitar 1 is going to sound like this. And like this for guitar 2. And then we get to harmony riff number 2, which is a little variation on this riff. That's a little bit more aggressive. Okay, so this is almost the exact same thing as the harmony riff number 1 that you learned just a second ago. The only real difference is that with ending A and ending B, instead of those both having 1, 2, 3 low E's, they're gonna have 4 low E's instead. This gives this riff more of a straight 16th note kind of feel, which drives a little bit harder. So again, just imagine you're playing the exact same thing, only whenever you play the endings, put 4 low E's in there instead of 3. So it sounds something like this for guitar 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Guitar 2 sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's also a third guitar harmony that gets added on right here too. So remember saying a second ago that those 2 guitars were kind of making a 5th sort of harmony? Well, this other guitar is adding in a diatonic 3rd into here. So it gets basically a full chordal harmony sound. So if you want to play that 3rd guitar's part, you're going to be using frets number 8 and 10 on the A string for the stem. For ending A, you're going to be using 8, 10, and 6 on the A string like this. 8, 10, 6. Back to the stem. And then this riff's ending B kind of doubles up with guitar 1 or 2s a little bit. At the ending there, it kind of gets into that double stop. It's going to be going from the opens to the 8 on the A, to the 10 on the A. And then it sounds to me like it's probably playing the 8 on the D sliding to 7, just like what guitar 1 does. So it just kind of doubles up for that one part right there, but otherwise it's doing those diatonic 3rds. So guitar 3 sounds like this. Now I watched some videos live and it looks like Willie, in order to kind of reproduce those parts in the live environment where they just have 2 guitars, Willie starts playing his part, which was this. He starts playing it like this right here. So basically, instead of hitting single notes on the A string, he's hitting the 5 on the A and the 3 on the D. Again, that's copying this note that was in guitar 3's part. And then you're gonna play 6 on the A, 5 on the D. And then that's the 3 on the A, the 1 on the D. And then he'll play. Again, just doing a double stop right there on the A and D strings. So if you want to do it exactly how they do it live, that's what's up for harmony riff number 2. And just for shits and giggles, I'm going to show you guys what I call the harmony riff number 2 I Have No Friends edition. So you can play this all by yourself if you're lonely. So what you're going to do right here to create that full triadic sound is the first group of notes is going to be on the 5A, 3D, 2G. Again, that's going to be the notes of all 3 guitars. Next part is going to be using 6, 5, and 3 on those strings. So that's the stem, right? And then for ending A, it's going to go like this. So that's the same first 2 chord groups we used a second ago, ending on 3, 1, and 0 on A, D, and G strings. It's like a C minor chord. Back to the stem. And the ending I would play like this. So you can see that's using those same 2 groups we had a second ago, the D minor and the E flat major. And then ending here on G and D on 3, sliding into 2, and then just strike those again. You might not have friends, but you sound cool. And then we get to the big groovy halftime riff in the middle of the song right there, and it sounds like guitar number 1 is just doing some big long sustained chords. Again, it's really hard to hear these chords in the mix, so I'm not going to swear on my life, but it sounds to me like they're both kind of like sus2 chords. So the first one here is going to have your open low E, your 5th A, your 7th D, and your 9th G. Scale to summit chords, right? Then what you're going to do is to move the fretted notes up a half step. So now I'm on 6 on the A, 8 on the D, and 10 on the G. I'm gonna hit that chord, 2, 3, 4, strike it again. I'm not gonna swear on that second strike, but it sounds like it to me. So guitar 1 is just doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think, again, maybe that second chord is just hit once and held. Who knows? Meanwhile, guitar 2 is staying a little bit busier and playing this riff that has a bunch of pull-offs and stuff in it. And guess what? It's stem ending A, stem ending B, just like a lot of these riffs are. So the stem sounds like this. So that's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm gonna play that first fret low E string pulling off to open. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the low E string again. 1, 4, pull off 4. Ending A goes like this. So that's 4 pulling to open, 3 pulling to open. Then you got 3 low E's, 3, 5, 0, 3, 6. Yeah, let's play that a few times for you there. One more time. So now you can play stem, ending A, stem, and then ending B is this. So this is starting off with the same 4 pulling to open, 3 pulling to open thing. 3 opens, 3, 5, and then jump up here to frets number 8, pulling off to 6, and then pick the 6 again. So ending B is. Okay, one more time. Really odd riff. After that, you're going to go back to the verse riff, and then this is where we have the guitar solo kick in. The guitar solo takes place over riff 2 from the intro. That riff. And the solo here has a couple of things in it that I see tabbed out incorrectly, as well as a weird layer that I never picked up on until I was listening really closely to this thing. So the guitar solo is in 2 separate halves. I'll play the first half here at stepdad speed. Pretty cool stuff. It's kind of based around E harmonic minor, which sounds neat and exotic. And it's interesting to note, though, if you really look at that riff that's backing it, there's a lot of contradictions scale-wise, but it doesn't really matter because it sounds cool. Now, most of the tabs for this that I see have you starting off playing the 12th fret on the high E, or the 17 on the B, or something like that. But actually it's starting off on the 7 on the A string with a pinch harmonic that sounds a perfect octave higher than the fretted note. Sometimes you gotta kind of get picky here and find, there it is. See, it makes it sound like it's an octave higher than it really is, which is why most people tab it out high. But yeah, listen closely on the record. The thickness of that note really kind of gives it away that it's not actually a high fretted note. It's actually the 7 here on the A string. You're gonna hit that pinch harmonic and give it a half step bend. Some vibrato, then he kind of slides off of it before he plays this run. Now I'm going to start off here on the A string. I'm going to play 3 notes, 7, 9, and 10, kind of palm muted. D string here, play 2 notes, 7, 9. Then on the G, just play 8. So it's kind of a 3, 2, 1 note per string pattern. When you get to the B, play 7, hammering on the 8, pulling up to 7. G string here, you're going to play 9, 8. Reach up here to that 10 on the D, then back to the 8 on the G. So that whole run is, it's probably the hardest part of the solo, really. Then you gotta play the 10th fret B and give it a full step bend before you let it back down. Now this has also got a little bit of a rake in there, just to give that note some extra grit. So be sure to kind of palm mute the strings really hard back here. That way you can just kind of blow through them, you know, rake through them with the pick like that, to get some extra juice on that 10th fret B string note. Then play the 7 on the B with a half step bend. Come up to the 12 on the B, half step bend. And then you have this last little lick right here. So that's the 10, hammer on, pull off to 12, slide down to 7, slow half step bend. And again, that guitar just basically sounds like it holds that note out and they faded it in the mix while you got the arpeggio guitar that comes in over the top of it for the second part of the solo. And right as soon as that last half step bend starts is where we get guitar 2 that comes in with its arpeggio part. Now for some reason Mark never plays this part live. It seems like live he's been playing a lot of like fast bluesy licks, which are cool. Hell, I can't blame him. If you've been playing the same song live for like 10 or 15 years, you'd probably start changing up licks too. But I do like this original arpeggio section. I like to just straight up alternate pick this. You could probably work some economy picking or something into there, but I think it's a better character building exercise to try this alternate picked. It's gotta sound something like this. So starting off with some stuff that kind of outlines an E minor arpeggio. What I'm going to do to start with there is I'm going to be playing the 19 on the high E, then the 15, and then the 17 on the B. Those 3 notes right there are your E minor arpeggio, which again is kind of matching the E bass riff that you're playing over right there. So I got to play 19 and 15 on the E, then 17 on the B, back to that 15th E. Then you got to play this phrase. So this is just me using that 15th fret high E string down here as kind of a pedal tone and playing some high notes on top of it here. I'm going to be playing the 19, again back to 15, 20, 15, 19, 15, 17, 15. So that's, which makes this whole section sound like this. Next is pretty much the same idea, only the arpeggio shape is going to change a little bit here. So what this is this is the 17 on the high E, the 14 on the high E, and still playing that 17 on the B string for our E kind of root note right there. So that is 17, 14, going up here to the B string 17, back to the high E 14, 17 and 14, 19, 14, 17, 14, 15, 14. So that's 17, 19, 17, 15. The next here is centered around a D. And this is basically me playing the high E string here on 17 and 14 and the B string on 15. Again, that's a D major triad right there. So you gotta play 17 on the high E, 14 on the high E, 15 B, 14 high E, and then again a little pedal tone lick. I think it's the same as the last one, 17, 19, 17, 15. Okay? Notice I'm just keeping that first finger just anchored down on its note for all of these arpeggio parts. I'm not going back and forth like that. Makes it a lot easier if you just stay put. So the arpeggio section is then we have this descending 3s lick down the E minor scale. You can play this with a lot of different fingerings and stuff, but the one I'm using starts off on the 15th high E to the 14th high E, 17th B, that's your first group of 3 notes. Again, the trick with this is to think of it as walking down a scale 3 notes at a time. So I gotta play 15, 14, 17 on the B, 14 on the high E, 17 on the B, 15 on the B, then again go back up a note, 17, 15, 13, back up a note, 15, 13, 12. So now you have this. Again, it's all about walk down 3 notes, go back a note, 3 notes, back, back, and end on the 15th B. So the entire thing for guitar 2 is so here's another really odd guitar part in here that I swear I never noticed before, and maybe I'm just losing my mind where I've listened to this so many times trying to get it mega accurate. But I swear as soon as the guitar starts with the arpeggio part, that section right there, if you listen really closely on the left side of the mix, it sounds like there's another guitar that's maybe doing some octaves, just kind of strumming them with that triplet feel. with a ton of like delay or reverb or something on there. It sounds really washy. Again, it's not loud in the mix at all, but I want you to listen to it really closely. Maybe even, you know, take your right earbud out or something like that so you can just hear the left side. And listen for this right here. It's almost like it's just a little glue holding both of those solos together and kind of bridging them together in the mix or something. Again, I'm not going to swear that that even exists, but just so you know, what I think is going on right there sounds like some octaves here, starting off on the D5 and B8. Then go down to 4 and 7, 2 and 5. So that's... and then go back up to 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Take the octave shape up here to 7 and 10 on those strings, and then back down to 4 and 7. I'll do that again with the count behind it so you can really hear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's weird, but I swear it's back there somewhere. After that solo section, you got the harmony riff number 2 again, and then the big crazy drum break. And then we get into the last section of the song, which gets way fast. It's pretty tricky to play if you want to keep it sounding super tight with the drums. Now in this part, there are 2 different guitars playing some harmonies. And again, this is like a Mandela effect thing, where I swear I never heard harmonies on this riff before, and then suddenly I could hear them. And they're odd too. Again, they're not like a straight diatonic thing where they're all doing fifths or whatever. They kind of jump around intervallically and it sounds really odd. Now this riff sounds like this. And there's kind of some debate about whether they're doing slides or not. And like that. I think the effect that we're hearing when it comes to those slides is because whenever he's doing the catches on those mutes, his hand is really low on the neck. And I found this out myself as I was recording the cover. Because if you have your hand kind of in the middle position of the neck, which is where you need to be to play those little sliding runs and stuff. See, sometimes when your hand comes down for the mute, you can get a little bit of a harmonic that sounds a little bit like that. And it's really irritating and hard to control if you're doing the muting right here. So if you watch live videos, you'll see especially Willie will do the palm muted parts down here so you can do the catches and keep him sounding really clean with no harmonics at the end of them. Then he jumps up to play the run, then back down to this end of the neck. So I think the effect that we hear whenever we hear those, you know, kind of perceived slides, I think it's just quick position shifting that's getting him there. So this riff is going to be played on the palm muted low E string, open, using your left hand to make those catches happen and sound super tight. You're going to be doing some double strokes here where I'm using a down and up stroke in quick succession. It's going to sound like this. So the stem on this, again, this is a stem A, stem B kind of riff, is going to be all open stuff. You're going to have a double stroke, and then a quadruple stroke. Make sure that last one is just down, up, like that. End on an upstroke. That's what I really concentrate on, is ending on that upstroke. And then you're going to have stem A, which is going to be a double stroke, and then a double stroke with some extra notes added onto it at the end there. So you're going to have 2 low E's, then go here to your 6 on your A. That's 4 of those. And then come up to the 10 on the A string. 4 of those, okay? So you have the stem, ending A, the stem, and then ending B, which is the same idea, only use frets 6 and 3 on the A string. So it sounds like this. So stem, A, stem, B. So this is guitar 2's part during this first fast riff in the song. And again, I swear I didn't ever notice these harmonies before until I did this cover and lesson. It's doing the same accent pattern on the low E string, the same stem A, stem B kind of thing. Only first, you're going to start up by using the 13 and 10 on the A string, like this. Again, that's your ending A, as I've been calling it. And then your stem again. And then your ending B is gonna be using frets number 13 and 7. Really odd how those notes kind of clash together. Again, it's not a straight fifth, it's not a straight third or anything like that, but that is how they go. So you got guitar 1, guitar 2. So after that you get this bouncy variation on that riff, and again it's pretty much the exact same thing. You're just replacing the stem with that tight thing with this bouncy thing on the low E string. Now these are all just little double strokes here. I'm hitting down strokes followed by up strokes on the low E string, no palm muting or anything. You gotta play 7 of those in a row before you start doing those endings. So the 6 to 10, the 6 to 3 thing for guitar 1, the 13 to 10 thing, the 13 to 7 thing for guitar 2. So guitar 1 will sound like this for the bouncy riff. Guitar 2 will sound like this. If that whole section feels odd to you, it's because it's in 7/4 time. So as you're playing that riff, if you count it through in 7s, it'll make a lot more sense. It's interesting though that the drums don't really acknowledge that. The drums kind of play straight through it on the snare as though it was a common 4/4 riff, which adds a really cool feel to that. But yeah, count out with the guitars and you'll notice that it is in 7. And after that we get to the super brutal, apocalyptic, slow, chuggy thing at the end of the song, which again is based on those same accent patterns. This time the slides are definitely more exaggerated because it's so much slower. And we're gonna be doing some chugs on those open low strings. It's a really weird rhythm. It took me a few tries to kind of get the drift of what was going on with that one. But basically just be palm muting the hell out of your low 3 strings here. I'm hitting the E, A, and D strings. And then again, we have these harmony licks that go at the end of it. So guitar 1 is gonna be playing 5 sliding to 6, 6 sliding to 10. And then the second part of that guitar's riff is gonna be 5 sliding to 6, 6 sliding to 3, like this. So overall, guitar 1 has this. And guitar 2 is going to be doing the exact same chugs and stuff, only its licks are going to be 12 sliding to 13, 13 going to 10. And then after this, it's going to be 12 sliding to 13, 8 sliding to 7, like this. And again, I never noticed those harmonies. I've been listening to the song for freaking years and somehow never noticed those before. Weird stuff. So lastly, for the chaotic, dying animal guitars that you hear at the end of the song, I recorded those with my Suhr Modern Satin right here, which has a tremolo on it, which I think is a really important feature. I can't confirm this because I wasn't there in the studio when they were tracking it, obviously, but I think he recorded that on a guitar with a tremolo. Sounds like there's a little bit of a dive bomb at the end of it. And also too, it's more out of tune when you play it on a guitar with a tremolo. And this is just due to the nature of how tremolos work. You know, with a guitar with a trem on it, if I hit the high E string and bend the low E string, listen what happens. See how it makes that note go flat? Because you're essentially just pulling the whole bridge forward, so it's pitching up. So whenever you are playing a guitar with a tremolo and you do those Hendrixy, you know, unison bends like that, well, the trouble is as you bend this note up, this note's getting flatter, actually. You hear that? So even when you get it up to the top, it's not necessarily in tune. So in order to make this part sound right, I had to use a guitar with a tremolo because it's just more out of tune sounding. And what I did is I played the 14 on the high E and the 16 on the B. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to strike those two notes together, and I'm going to give that B string a 1.5 step bend. This is where it would, you know, usually be in tune, but because of that amount of bending, it's going to be knocking my high E string flat, like this. See, again, by the time I get it up to the point where it's in tune, the high E string is now horribly out of tune. So do that bend on the 16th B while holding down the 14th high E a couple times. And then what you're gonna do is I moved it up to where it's 14 and 17. Again, I'm not swearing by that either, but 14th high E, 17th B. And this time kind of deliberately overbend the B string. So I'm going not quite in tune, but a little over. You know, kind of get that early guitar center sound. So you're gonna do 2 of those. And then kind of sliding in right here to the 14th B and 15th G. Shake those while you hit them a couple times. And then you got that very last part that sounds kind of like a dying ambulance driving by. And the way I achieve that sound is I'm fretting the 13th B and 14th G and pre-bending them up about a half step. Like that. So what you're gonna do is to pick B, G, B, G, B, G while you simultaneously give those vibratos and start letting the bend down slowly. Again, it'll be nice and raunchy and out of tune sounding. Then when you get to the bottom, sounds like he hits them both and dive bombs the bar. Just like that. So you got your 14-16 bend, your 14-17 over bend, double stop, dying ambulance. I bet your mom and dad loved hearing that come out of your bedroom. Woof. So there you go, guys. That should be literally all of the guitar parts in that song. Thank you guys so much, as always, for watching. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what other songs you guys would like to see complete breakdowns of. Again, it was really odd to me that there wasn't a lesson for this on YouTube already. This song has been around forever. Like I said, there's a couple of decently accurate tabs out there. I found one that was just like a MIDI guitar and like a fretboard pattern, kind of roughly showing you what to play. But again, that's not exactly the same as, you know, hands-on, this is how you play it kind of instructions. So let me know what other Lamb of God tunes need lessons, and we'll go through those on future installments of Weekend Wankshop. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You all can follow me on Instagram at Ben Eller Guitars, or on my Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Uncle Ben Eller. And if you're interested in booking some one-on-one Skype lessons with me, be sure to drop me an email. benellerguitars@gmail.com is where you can reach me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Good luck, guys. Have fun with that one, and I'll see you all next week here on Weekend Wankshop. Now get away from the computer and go learn how to play this song. Less clicking, more picking.